You're listening to the Healthy Aging Institute podcast, your trusted source for expert insights, practical strategies, and inspiring conversations that help you live well, move well, and age well. Let's please welcome your host and leader in the field of movement and healthy aging, Ken Baldwin.
Hey everybody, it's Ken from the Healthy Aging Institute, and I'm in town speaking to one of my speakers who is in town for another summit on menopause. I'm chatting with Robyn Walker. Robyn, thanks for joining me today. Great to catch up with you finally before the summit. Let's start with a bit of your background, where you're from, what you currently do, and so on and so forth.
Big question, Ken.
The question of life.
The question of life, oh my God. Background, 30 plus years in facilitating, presenting and speaking within the realm of human behaviour. I often use the line from the boardroom to the jailhouse and most points in between, because my professional journey has kind of taken me from government, corporate, small business community through to some of our most vulnerable, and which includes travelling around presenting suicide prevention programs. I've taken my trainings into women's jails, also corrective services, co-facilitated as an external facilitator in areas of domestic abuse with men who had offended, and I've also facilitated programs for women who have been, and I don't like to use the word victim, but they and their families have been at the end result of domestic abuse. Kids at risk. I often say too, I've just been very honoured to work with so many, and to me everyone's an amazing person. Regardless of their behaviour. I'm very big at separating person from behaviour. That person's always okay. Behaviour can suck, behaviour's learnt, suck is the technical word. But, seriously, behaviour's learnt, it can be unlearned, and, intergenerational trauma. When we start to hear these people's stories and what happened to them when they were teeny. So, I just love working at that coalface. And so now stepping out more as a speaker and with your Healthy Aging Summit.
So we know that mindset is incredibly important in everything, and as health professionals quite often we forget to look at that and take those barriers down, so to speak, that you're talking about, so that we can really get into the nitty-gritty, because quite often once we do, we're able to take that next step from confidence to a commitment to having fun and being able to do the things we never could do before. This is obviously more important from an ageing demographic, and with both of us being in this ageing demographic, it's incredibly important as well. How do you relate that to exercise? Because quite often from a wellness perspective, and we're talking about longevity, how does this cross over into that area?
Okay, so I'll endeavour to keep it shortish. My passion these days is men's business, women's business and eldership. Obviously, I've moved into the realms of eldership. I'm no longer in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or even 60s. So for me, more and more, mindset is key. And along with the mindset, it's also, like, for example, I'm going to use the word team, but for decades now, I have someone that I have regular acupuncture with. I have someone that I have regular, what I would call my spiritual mentor with. I have an excellent guy that does chiro with osteo. So, and I do a lot of walking in nature. I jump in the ocean all year round. So for me, if I wasn't doing that agility of the mind and how I hold, because we all do judgment, let's face it. But when we understand that the moment we're making someone else or ourselves wrong, there's a part of our brain that sees us as saying that about ourselves. So those emotions, that mindset is flowing through our body and it's toxifying it. So for me, and also, so many people as they get older, they go, I'm getting so old and I'm elderly, and it's no, you're not. Yes, you might have had a few more orbits around the sun, but let's change the word elderly into eldership. Is that answer that question?
That's great, because again, mental capacity and confidence leads to physical capacity and having the ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And I think that's the big thing about unlocking those barriers and so on and so forth. So how do we get this across to fitness professionals? And I know that you're going to be talking at the summit.
Yep.
What are you going to be talking about, and what can we share, or what should we be sharing with all of our clients when we're dealing with them?
Well, I guess also because I love working with behavioural styles, communication styles, learning styles, and a lot of people, if they don't understand, if a lot of the professionals in the health industry don't understand, for example, let's just say that you could be a potential new client for me. But let's just say that you're a kinesthetic learner and I'm talking to your auditory, you're not going to hear half of what I say. Let's just say that I might offer you a free coaching session. So here we are in the gym and I'm going, Ken, I want you to do blah, 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 blah. And you're looking at me going, sorry, what? So if I knew what your learning style was and you were a kinesthetic learner, I would be coaching you in a different way, because chances are I'm going to lose you when you leave. So it's helping them, because this isn't rocket science. It's so easy. And it's the same with how we adapt to change or don't adapt to change. So depending on your behavioural style would depend on how much I might challenge you as a coach in the gym. So there's different aspects of just understanding the makeup of your clients to get the best out of them to create a happier, healthier relationship.
Would you say that is different? So from my coaching experience wise, the learning patterns are totally different, because number one, the fear factor, they're frightened to do things. Number two, the education factor, because they don't know what they don't know, but if they're told, or not told, but if they're shown and educated in the right way, they're able to do those things. How do we turn that around? How is it different for an ageing demographic?
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that question?
So if I'm coaching a young person in the gym and so on and so forth, again, they want results, they want it now, but if I'm looking at somebody in the ageing demographic, they want to know why they're doing it to understand the how, so then they will do it. And I'm looking at smaller goals as I go along rather than the big picture at the end and saying you have to do this to get there and along the line. Would you say that that's the case?
Absolutely, the smaller increments. Because, for example, at my age now, I don't quite do the running around that I used to. But I certainly do the fast walking. But if someone said to me, Robyn, I want you to do whatever, and if I, in my body, go, that doesn't feel right for me, you as a coach, rather than push me, would say, why, Robyn? How can we dovetail that where it sits? Because also I believe, Ken, the older we get, hopefully, the more we're able to say, sorry, wait a minute, can we discuss this more? Because I'm not about beefing up.
Yep.
I'm more about the fluidness of just keeping this healthy, because this is all we've got. If we don't have this to walk around and move in, we don't have quality of life.
I think quality of life, you nailed it there.
Yeah.
The quality of life is the big thing, but it's knowing and understanding. We can't be like a doctor where in 15 minutes we diagnose, we assess, and sometimes we don't assess. We just get them in and get them out. We have to be the guide by their side, as you say, understand where they're coming from, pull those barriers down to create that confidence and be a part of their understanding network.
And listening. That whole thing of 2 ears and 1 mouth. Many years ago, I think it was around about 2017, I was doing some outdoor education at a kids camp, and I think it was like, I don't know, year 4 or 5, and we're talking about the 2 ears, 1 mouth, and one of the kids said double listening. And I'm like, yes, it's that double listening of what it is that your client, because sometimes the client themselves doesn't know why they're pulling back. And the coach can go, well, you're just being resistant. And it's like, no, I'm not. So it's being able to just ask the questions. And you know how it, you know, the auditory is like 35% of the communication model. The actual words are around the 10%, and you probably know this. Body language is 55%, so it's reading those body language cues of the more elder clients, I believe.
So there you have it, folks. In a nutshell, Robyn's going to be talking about all of these things and practical things that you can take home with you and implement with yourself and with your clients straight after the summit. So make sure you jump in to Robyn's session at the Healthy Aging Summit, 29th and 30th on the Gold Coast, in 29th and 30th of May on the Gold Coast. Hopefully you can join Robyn and us at the Healthy Aging Summit.
Look forward to seeing you there.